We are taught that because we are capable of reason, generosity should come before self-interest. As such, we should give and share. However, who alerts us to the dangers of being too sympathetic and caring? The world in which we live is not always one of receiving what we give, since it is full of kind people who recognize the financial and mental toll that indiscriminate giving takes on them. Might giving too much endanger our own lives? The unintended negative effects of compassion will surprise you. Let's go on to the first number. People will expect irrational things from you. Without further ado, the importance of accepting one's circumstances and not deriving pleasure from other people's actions was emphasized by the Stoics. Giving without expecting too much in return helps you avoid disappointment and develop emotional detachment, which improves your state of mind. In our generosity, we find it challenging to be completely selfless. When we give our best, whether consciously or unconsciously, we expect others to do the same when we require something critical. Others will believe you can handle everything in your life as well as theirs, especially your own, because you've trained them to expect you to take care of them in any situation. If not, why are you taking on other people's obligations? The truth is that you will feel grumpy, exhausted, irritated, and disappointed since you won't realize your expectations of reciprocity. When we look at it honestly, people are attending to their own obligations, not failing you. Second rule: if you give anything to someone, they will only expect something in return. The Stoics hold that acting in accordance with virtue and reason, as opposed to merely caving in to the expectations of others, is what truly defines true value. You can keep control over your own activities and avoid developing patterns that drain your emotional well-being by practicing moderation and balanced giving. You've always heard that humans are creatures of habit, but never in such a plain way. Humans are conditioned to adjust to a routine, a way of life, and a flurry of activities occurring all around them. It is from this flexibility that the idea of the comfort zone originates. This implies that the person you are giving to will expect you to do it all the time if you get into the habit of giving all the time. Others will be drawn by you into their own comfort zones, and they will give up on many of their obligations since you will be there to take care of them. Since it's uncommon for someone to look you in the eyes and tell you to appreciate yourself more, the problem you'll confront in this situation is not valuing yourself. If you help someone, they will follow their own Robin Hood, which will cost them their life. So at the very least, don't expect this type of empathy from them. Third, your priorities won't be taken into consideration. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living in accordance with reason and virtue. In order to maintain equilibrium and avoid compromising your authenticity and well-being for the sake of others, setting boundaries and prioritizing your own obligations are critical. You may find that you are trying to get away from an internal source of distress and worry by finding a way out. What emotions do you feel when you spend the weekend alone or arrive home every day knowing that no one is expecting you if you give your all to other people's goals? If this diversity stems from a need to run away from yourself, the blow will be twice as severe because, while you will eventually have to confront your inner self, your negative emotions will intensify as you begin to put other people's needs ahead of your own in order to attend to those of others. Taking care of oneself is critical to happiness. You have to make sure that you are comfortable, well cared for, and pampered before you can comfort others. That is, don't give chocolate to someone unless you have personally enjoyed it. As you shouldn't offer to clean a friend's house before cleaning your own and enjoying the great movie and a glass of wine. You should put yourself first before the rest of the world. Fourth, you'll be treated like the weak person that you are perceived to be. To develop inner strength and self-control, Stoicism is an inspiration. By setting limits and demonstrating self-control, we may demonstrate to others that we are dedicated to our own obligations and principles, winning their respect instead of coming across as weak. You may be perceived as an authority figure in the field where you work with others if you help an excessive number of people over time. Because people see you as weak and the opposite of a leader when you don't set boundaries, you can be giving the wrong image. So much so that they'll turn to you to take on their obligations because they know there's no chance you'll say no. As soon as you begin to use the magic word no, on the other hand, people will start to feel a way about you that they never thought possible. Fifth, they'll be plentiful, but they'll be the ones who approach you when they're in need. The importance of wisdom and discernment is something that Stoicism teaches us. We can avoid spending our resources on unproductive initiatives by using self-control and objectivity while determining who to assist. Those who once thought of you as a wonderful friend begin to cut you out of their delight and only come to you when they really need something. You should not be surprised if this happens to you, because people hardly ever invite their co-workers or collaborators out for coffee, much less out for a beer. It is not fair, even though what is happening to you makes sense. To avoid people utilizing you, you must learn to handle the strategies I'll provide with you at the end. 6. People who are in need are the only ones you will ever attract. Givers will never find you. With Stoic understanding, we may establish genuine and mutually beneficial connections. The vibrations of our energy attract people into our life. In other words, when our energy is low, we'd attract negative people who act with evil spirits and malicious goals. We attract people who are full of positive energy, generosity, excitement, hard work, and delight when our vibrations are high. Because of this, when we give indiscriminately, we lose so much energy that we begin vibrating at a low frequency, attracting those in need as well as opportunists who come simply to take advantage of us and take all they can before disappearing. Thus, they are spared the trouble of saying thank you. 7. An addiction could develop. Moderation and self-control were encouraged by the Stoics. We can avoid addictive tendencies and maintain a positive relationship with our actions and decisions when we practice self-control and generosity. The greatest chance of developing an addiction occurs when scarcity becomes a part of our daily life. Consequently, it's possible that someone close to you will discover one day that you're overindulging in food, gambling, or drinking, though maybe not mineral water. Pay attention to what someone who cares about you says, because your first reaction may be to get angry and insist you're not having any problems. But this is the most typical response from people who are too preoccupied with their own problems to recognize that they even exist. Take their remarks seriously because they are intended to assist you in stopping falling and moving forward. Keep in mind that those who care about you just want the best for you. 8. You'll arouse curiosity. Our practice of Stoicism encourages us to behave honorably regardless of what other people think of us. Focusing on living in accordance with our ideals and values allows us to develop a genuine reputation that defies unjustified suspicions. The truth is that there aren't many true decent people in our world, no matter how much we wish they were. If you are one, instead of being met with gratitude and respect, you will inspire distrust. People will soon begin to wonder what's going on with you and what secret goals you have that you don't tell anyone about. This doesn't necessarily mean you've encountered a group of suspicious people, but it does mean they're more likely to be reasonable. Too eager people tend to hide such sinister intentions, so it's best to avoid them and turn down the assistance they offer. Let's look at some strategies to stop others from utilizing you. Keep your emotions in the forefront of your awareness. It's them talking to you. Observe your feelings and emotions in accordance with the Stoic idea of self-awareness. The Stoics believed that in order to comprehend one's desires and reactions, it was essential to reflect on oneself. By listening to your feelings, you may be able to determine whether you're emotionally and physically taxing yourself excessively. This will give you the opportunity to adjust your focus and find a healthy balance. If you assist others, what emotions do you experience? Thinking of yourself and prioritizing your needs is such an unselfish act that it should make you feel like you're on clouds. It's time to pay attention to your emotions, whether you're feeling overburdened, exhausted, furious, or used. You cannot fool yourself if you are hurting so much over something you are not committed to in order to learn how your assistance is affecting your well-being. Overcoming your dislike of the word no is strategy number 2. As taught by the Stoics, acknowledge that your time and energy are valuable and must be used with care and moderation. Using self-control to say no when you're feeling overwhelmed or when the request is inappropriate is an excellent strategy. Even if the word no is associated with negativity and pessimism, it is normal for us to find it difficult to pronounce. Negativity will, however, become our way of life if we do not learn how to say this word when someone asks more of us than we can offer. Practice in front of the mirror until you're certain that this is the only way to regain your freedom and avoid unnecessary and possibly harmful risks. Third tactic, you have your place and time, and those should be honored. It is critical to respect and make time for yourself in accordance with the Stoic principles of self-control and self-respect. Do whatever makes you happy, whether it's yoga, drawing, listening to music while sipping tea, or anything else, and get your obligations done as soon as you can so you can practice. Just as you would plan this time on a daily or weekly basis, you should take this seriously. Because of this, if you are requested to assist someone at that time, you must be very cooperative and respectful of yourself rather than the other person. This means that you may say no without feeling bad about it, respect that space, and enjoy yourself. Another time, you can offer your assistance. Make it clear that you have a life to attend to if you don't want to be so forthright. Fourth tactic, recognize energy vampires and keep your distance from them. It is critical to know which relationships emotionally feed you and which ones drain you in accordance with the Stoic concepts of self-control and judgment. You are taking care of your own well-being and practicing Stoic self-control in your relationships by separating yourself from people who consistently drain your energy and do not contribute positively. It's essential to keep your distance from people who deplete your energy and don't make a positive contribution. You should be aware that attempting to assist an energy vampire won't work. These people overwhelm you with their ailments, their grievances, and their negative attitude on life. They don't want to address their problems because doing so would require them to stop complaining. Therefore, don't bother trying to assist them. They would find that intolerable. Ultimately, generosity is just another example of how the middle ground is always the best course of action in life. According to Stoic philosophy, when we give too little, we come across as ungrateful and self-centered, while when we give too much, we are full of energy, time, and most definitely money. Remember the golden word no when in doubt, especially if they're offering to drive you home from the vehicle window. Instead, lean towards grace, which are still the perfect hues for creating a balance between prioritizing others and ourselves. We've reached the end of our journey, and I sincerely hope my recommendations prove useful to you. Recall that you are a crucial part of our channel. In order for more people to gain from the Stoic powers of knowledge, kindly give this video a thumbs up if it has helped, inspired thought, or taught you anything. If you haven't already, subscribe and make comments. Keep in mind that every little step counts when it comes to personal development.